Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Faith and Whatever, the podcast. I am your host, Josh Carmen, moderator extraordinaire. I'm joined, as always, with the lovely Garrett Gerhardt, the fair James Yule, and the ever-so-kind Christopher Carmen. We are recording live out of Marion Ranch Record. You can find us on all forms of social media. You can go to the Apple Store or Apple Podcasts and find us there. Type in Faith and Whatever, and we will come up. We are super excited to finally be there. So find us on the interwebs, the social medias, and like and subscribe and share. Send us questions. faithandwhatever.com is our main website. You can follow me at Josh_Carmen. Chris is at Marion Ranch. James is at James YUILE. And Garrett is at T Student Life. So, gentlemen, we are back again.
We should mention, by the way, that we break our week up into episodes on YouTube. So there'll be a Monday episode, a Tuesday episode, Wednesday and Thursday episode, and they cover different topics as we go, from religion to pop topics to other such things.
So anything that we find interesting.
James actually said it normal for the first time in the whole.
Felt weird. I felt like
we're hoping a new
out.
trend will begin with that. So, so find us on those segments there. And we do that because you may find something that we talk about in regards to religion interesting, and you may not care about comic books. So maybe you just want to watch one segment. So we do that.
You're a terrible person, by the way.
We do that for the sake of the listener, because we are all about making your life easier. So with that, we're going to go ahead and get into what we've been up to this week. So guys, why don't you fill us in? Garrett, we'll start with you. As per usual, what have you been doing?
I've been all about the zoo this weekend. So two interesting things. Not interesting, but I went to the zoo on Friday, then saw Zootopia on
New
Saturday.
Equipment. I'm not used to that being right there. Yeah, I'm kidding. I don't know why that was so funny. It was the spring sound. It
You
sounded
need
like
to
that.
replace that sound, Chris, with something bigger.
Yeah, it sounded like that thing, like the. Never mind.
Okay.
Yeah.
So back to the zoo.
Right. So it's kind of ironic. I didn't realize that I'm going to the zoo and then watching a movie about animals. But it was really fun. This is my second time to San Diego Zoo. We bought a pass because it's one of those places where you go and you buy a one-day ticket. Getting an annual pass is only, the equivalent of buying one more ticket or something like that. But you can go as many times as you want in the next calendar year. And it's an incredible zoo, by the way. I've probably only been to one or two zoos in my whole life, and they're nothing to the San Diego Zoo. It's really beautiful, and it's really natural setting, and it's not like cages like they depict in every children's book ever. And then I saw Disney Animated's new movie, Zootopia, which it was quite an interesting conversation about racism. And if you've seen it, you'll know what I mean. And if you haven't seen it, you should probably go check it out.
Yeah, that sounds really good. You care to drop any? Don't drop any spoilers. We don't
Well,
wanna
it's
do that.
about animals of different species getting along. More specifically, predator and prey. And so everyone assumes that the conversation that prey and predators get along fine, and they have for hundreds of years. But there's this underlying tension and this underlying segregation, and a little bit, versus prey versus predator. So it kind of rings true in our society today about racism. Many thinking that it's no big deal. Those people also realizing that it's because we're not talking about it probably and not dealing with it.
Yeah.
So fascinating. Very, very good movie.
That's pretty excellent. James?
So you were going to the zoo. I was Exploding Kittens. That's what I was doing this week. Yeah. Exploding Kittens is a card game.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Is
Is that a Kickstarter game, right?
It was a Kickstarter game, but I did not
Saw
kickstart it. I didn't really learn about it until its Kickstarter was finished. And I was kind of curious, but didn't purchase it. And then I decided to purchase it this week. It has a more adult version and a more kid-friendly version. I went with the kid-friendly because I like playing games with my kids. And I thought this would be a new, neat thing to do. And they like cats, so I thought there would be some kind of, I don't know.
Like
I was being a
cats,
corny dad.
So we wanted to
Exploding
explode
Kittens.
Yeah, classic.
What is that game all about? How do you play it?
Well, the best thing to compare it to, but it's a poor comparison, is Uno, in the sense that there's a deck, and then there's a discard deck.
And
then
rule cards and stuff
right,
like that?
and then there's cards you have. But whereas Uno, you, at the start of your turn, pick up a card, and then you might then discard, and that discard could have some kind of ramification.
Right.
The way Exploding Kittens work is you start by playing whatever cards in your hand you want to play, and you can play as many as you want. And different cards have different functions on how to affect the game dynamics. And what you're attempting to do essentially is do whatever you can either to help yourself or screw your neighbor.
I love that game.
Yeah, so that when a card is picked up, you're not the one who gets the exploding kitten, and that takes you out of the game. So after you
face up, can you see the exploding kitten?
No, but for example, like you might play a card that lets you peek at the top 3 cards. So you can peek at them, and you can say, "Oh, the next card isn't an exploding kitten, but the second one is." So I'll finish my hand by taking a card, which you have to do at the end, and you're safe, knowing that the next person's not safe. Or you might see that, the next card is an exploding kitten. So what do I do? And then there's other cards that you have in your hand that can make you skip your turn and give it over to somebody else, or you can like have the deck shuffled or whatever. And it's about strategizing the game and playing half blind, half aware of everything going on so that you're the last person standing.
It's
It's a lot of fun. I've really enjoyed it.
It's a really good metaphor for life. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. So half blind, half hearing. Totally applicable to what you're
How about you,
talking
Josh?
This week, I did a whole lot of nothing. Fallen in love with some TV series that have come out. James Franco and a Hulu original called 11/22/63, which is based off of Stephen King's novel. And it's about James Franco going back in time to stop Kennedy from being assassinated.
Okay.
So through the first 3 episodes so far, it's an 8-week series. It's kind of Franco-ish, everything that you would expect out of that. Not as much weed.
Franco-ish, like Pineapple Express?
No. Yeah. I mean,
People in gorilla suits?
and he's witty, he's charming like that. He looks good in the 60s. I think it's the closest thing he could accomplish to being James Dean, which is why I think he wanted to take a role like this.
He played James Dean early on.
But I mean, like actually be James Dean.
Do you think James Franco is a good actor?
I don't know how to answer that question.
Well, I'll give you my answer. I think he's not a good actor, but I love watching him in movies.
I think he's good at being James Franco.
Yeah.
I think he's amazing looking.
Yeah, you've got a man crush on James Franco.
Yeah, lots of men.
Well, I have a couple questions because that sounds like something I would really like. What year did they come from when they go back?
2016.
Okay.
So they're starting in the present day, and he is just a teacher at this I think it's like a continuing education center or like a adult high school kind of thing. And what they do is they work with people, and he's got this student, tells this really gruesome story about how his dad murdered his family in 1961 in this place in Kentucky with a hammer. And so it goes through this whole story. And then it's a really interesting dynamic though, because what's neat about it is whenever you start to get too close to changing the past, they have figured out a way to personify the past in that they say when you get too close to altering something, it pushes back. And so it could be in some small way or some big way. So whenever he gets too close to altering a specific event that largely has to do with JFK's assassination, like a random car will come, and try and clip him or catch on fire, or somebody will die.
What was that movie where death was hunting people?
Final Destination.
So it's sort of like Final Destination, except it's time instead of
with
death.
Kennedy.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It's like time wants to keep time the way time is.
Yeah, so you get to these certain things, and right now we're at a part where they're trying to figure out what to do with Lee Harvey Oswald. And so it's just really interesting to see the way that they utilize like 2016 conspiracy theories, bring them back, and they're walking through the area
There's
where,
one in every podcast recording.
where they're walking through the area where he was shot, like the grassy knoll pointing up to the other spot where the second shooter might have been, or whatever it is. I don't really care about how he was killed. He was dead. But so it's just an interesting,
How does it push back? How does the time put? I don't understand.
So if say he's getting too close to figuring out something that has to do with how JFK got assassinated, the past knows that Franco's there.
Uh-huh.
So as soon as he alters through comes in through what they call the rabbit hole, a guy comes up to him and says, "You shouldn't be here. You shouldn't be here." And that's how that starts. And it's a very scary,
So the past is a character.
yeah. And so it's very personified.
He's the villain. Because they're trying to change the past.
Right. So James Franco, from the part of the past as seen as the villain, and he's trying to stop the assassination of Kennedy. Very, very awesome, very intriguing.
Sounds cool.
So that has largely been my week trying to catch up with that. If it's on Hulu, Only 8 weeks, thank God, because any longer it would be. But 8 weeks is good,
The assassination has to happen at one point.
and that's what I'm hoping for.
I guess I can just keep going back before. Oh shoot, he got shot again. Okay,
And then-
start over. Go back.
So that's been largely my week. It's been pretty exciting. Just trying to keep up with that, and as well as always The Walking Dead, and just figuring out how to do all that stuff. So it's good. It's been a good week. What about you, Chris?
Well, House of Cards just came back.
Preach.
So, been binging on that. I think 8 episodes in.
Oh my
already.
gosh.
So, yeah, it's all right.
Is it better than season 3? Because I've dropped out midway season 3.
I would say it is, but it's starting to feel almost a little bit like a cartoon. Or I don't know.
What do you mean?
It doesn't have like the edge of the first season, and
I thought the first 2 seasons were wonderful.
yeah, it doesn't quite have that. It does have some interesting and dynamic events with a lot more nuance to them than maybe the third season had. So I'd say it's better than those in that in that season. But there's some surprises.
I think
you'd
part of
enjoy
my
it.
problem with season 3 was in seasons 1 and 2, the main guy, what's his name I know it's
Frank
Kevin
Underwood.
Spacey, Frank Underwood. Even though sometimes things would get in the way of Frank Underwood, he was so dynamic and powerful. He was a force to be reckoned with.
Right.
In season 3, as far as I have watched, he's just getting beat up.
Yeah, season.
And I wasn't interested in watching Frank Underwood getting beat up.
Well, then season 3 ends with Claire leaving, his wife.
Oh, spoiler alert.
You're not gonna watch it
Season
anyway.
4 is up now, so it's on you. Once the next season's out, it's on you. But I don't want to ruin too much from season 4, but it gets back more to Frank being more of a force to be reckoned with.
Okay.
And
So
him
power
and
through the
Claire and
third
everything.
season. Let the character development happen, and stop being so negative, James. Jeez.
Season 3 was hard to power through.
No, it wasn't. I watched it in a weekend. You guys are liars. It was such a good series. Golly. Well, good. So that's what we've been up to this week. Glad you guys are doing well. I can't believe we're already 7 episodes in.
Crazy.
That's insane, dude. We're already like millionaires.
I didn't think I'd live this long.
I just sold my home. We're moving to Calabasas in the next few weeks, which is awesome.
You go
We've
find
made
Kim
so much
Kardashian and
money,
yell at her
we
about
can
her
afford
game.
this.
Yeah, which is why I'm so
right.
upset.
This is made of gold.
No, I downloaded a new game. Called Clash Royale, which is dope. It's kind of like tower defense game with Clash of Clans and Hearthstone.
cool.
It's
Oh wait, Hearthstone. Is there cards involved?
it's just a card, but it's cards, and then the cards come to life and actually do stuff. So that's pretty neat.
yeah, lame.
Okay. The arbiter of things that are cool.
I'm out personally. I mean,
Yeah.
it might still be cool, but
Dear gosh.
sounds terrible.
So
Dear
good.
Josh.
It's our
But
new swear.
okay, so I wanted to jump right into the news. I am a huge fan of all things VR. I continue to fall more in love with virtual reality, and so since I was controlling the new segment this week, it is my choice. And we are going to talk about how Oculus Rift said that they will support Macs when Apple makes, quote, a good computer.
I love that.
Okay,
Wow.
so I want to
Which means never.
get our thoughts. I want to get our thoughts on that and see.
Well, they
Josh
have-
has his MacBook right there in front
Yeah.
of the camera.
They have an
Yeah.
interesting criticism. Now, I'm repeating their criticism,
Mac
not
or
offering it
Oculus?
myself. Oculus has an interesting criticism of Mac, if it's accurate. Because I've not looked into the guts of every Mac or Apple PC or computer. But they explain what they mean, and what they mean is, I guess, despite anything that you might find in a Mac or an Apple, ultimately they have sort of mid-level to lower-level GPUs.
Right.
That's the problem, is that their GPUs are always just okay. And so it doesn't matter if you have a $3,000 Mac that's got all this cutting-edge stuff in it, it still has a mid-level GPU.
Yeah, the article says, quote, you can buy a $6,000 Mac Pro with the top-of-the-line AMD FirePro D700s, whatever that means, people. And it still doesn't even match their recommended specs.
Wow.
Yeah, and if you match the recommended specs with a PC, like a home-built PC, it costs you about $1,000. So $1,000 home-built PC,
What?
according to them, is better than a $6,000 Apple
Yeah,
computer.
Okay.
This
so-
is breaking Josh's
Well,
heart.
that's Apple's deal then. They're not big on graphics like that in that way.
Right. So I wanted to categorize and clarify, what is it that you think then, as you tech guys are, that I wish you guys at home could see Can you get a shot of just the studio amazingness that you have there?
It's right there. See?
I could.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, but
some
next
point.
week we'll do it.
Man, oh
Is it
yeah,
weird that we can
screen
see
too.
ourselves perfectly in the reflection of that
I
television?
know.
yeah, and so I can
Once
see.
the newest screen is hooked up,
I'm watching myself
Yeah, we
watching
don't need
myself,
it.
which
It's
is
just
weird.
reflection is fine. We don't even need. Just put a mirror up.
So he's got 19 monitors right now for people at home, and it's getting insane. It's almost to the
only
point
4.
where we're having an intervention next week. So be a part of Twitch if you want to have a live intervention with us as we talk to Chris about his problems with computers. So what is it really that Mac specializes in? What does Mac really care about?
Turnkey.
Yeah, which is valid, I think,
Yeah.
for a vast majority of computer users. So
Say that
I used
again?
to be
Turnkey.
What do you mean?
Just like
ease of use.
I have friends who don't know anything about computers, don't want to know anything about computers, and for them, they can go down to a store, buy a Mac, take it home, it works. If they have a problem with it, they can go right back to that store, and they don't ever have to think about how the computer works.
Yeah.
That seriously is like right up my alley. I mean, that sounds so nice. All I want to do is write papers.
Yeah, you want
And
it to work. I mean,
Now, I
think
agree
that's
with you that
totally
that's
normal.
the current state of affairs.
But
But
I'd say that's how they sell it.
well, that's the current
might have
state of affairs. But
disagreements.
here's how I think they got to the current state of affairs. I don't think Mac is really any easier than PC. But what's happened is they've made people familiar with Mac, and the way they made people familiar is Steve Jobs did a wonderful job of making Apple seem cool, like the
Sure.
trendy, awesome product. Just you looked at it. I mean, there's a time before a lot of PC computers sort of caught up to this sort of the outwards look
Of the design.
of the design
Yeah.
factor, and phones themselves before they caught up, that there was something special about just the design and the beauty of holding or using a Mac or an Apple product.
Yeah, when PC towers still just look like a box.
Right,
Right.
gray.
Right.
They used to be.
Yeah.
They used to all
Cables
be that
everywhere.
weird milky yellowy color,
Yeah.
and they were just ugly.
Yeah.
And so what happened was they first won as a trend, and then once they were a trend, everybody sort of climatized to the Apple way of doing things, and now that seems like the easy, obvious way for most people. And it's really just because they've been inundated with it, because they've bought into that product a bunch, which is fine. But the big difference is Apple makes products that do things in the computer realm medium well, which, by the way, there's a lot of trash PCs, and there's excellent PCs, but every Apple product usually does everything medium well, and you can guarantee that. It's a guarantee, right? You buy one, it's
Right.
going to do things pretty good. Whereas PC is about creating even who's making it, anybody can make a PC. Like any company can get into PC and design a PC, and by extension of that, PC can be anything you want it if you put the work into it. And you can buy a PC that's $200 and total trash and works like trash. You can spend $5,000 on a PC and have just a killer piece of tech,
And hack the Pentagon.
right?
Until you get a virus.
And for some reason in these conversations,
Virus.
PC rarely, the higher end of PC rarely gets represented in these conversations. That you can really buy some killer PCs.
What are we talking about price point for higher ends?
That's part of the problem. It's hard to compare because there's so many options
Right,
with a
right.
PC.
Right.
And that's
And
what
also
I,
it
that's
depends
what
on
I
if you're talking
liked
about a laptop or
Yeah.
or a
I am talking about
tower.
laptops, yeah.
Yeah.
Most
But
of
the-
our life is mobile these days, so for me,
Well, you're-
home computers are just a waste
A lot of people are
time.
comparing value of a PC to Mac and saying PCs are cheaper. When you spend the same amount,
Yeah.
they're much more similar. And PCs coming ahead with better specs. And like, for example, if you spend the same amount of money on a PC laptop as you do a MacBook Pro, you get a fully convertible, 4K laptop that literally folds in half and it's a touchscreen.
Yeah.
And and it's slightly more powerful.
Right.
But the build quality, it's probably a little bit lower, and it probably feels way lower, right? You pick it up, and there's I wouldn't say build quality. I would say feel,
Right.
material design. I mean, like you're picking up a PC laptop, right? Wow, there's like space between the back of the case and the, it's plasticky and it feels less quality, and I think is a valid thing to be concerned about when you're dropping $2,000 on something.
Yeah.
You know?
And the comment I'm going to make is restricted to popular brands, because anybody who knows a lot about sort of the more other like the minutia of PC brands, they would cut this apart. But with popular brands, I think this is true. Apple is always Apple and always Apple quality. Whereas depending on the
Classic
year,
argument.
different PC brands kind of step up to the plate
Right.
and become
Yeah.
quality, and other ones fall away. So there was a time when Dell was killing it. Then HP,
Mid-2000s.
yeah, and then HP kind of took over
Second
that.
half of the mid-2000s.
And now I would say it's Toshiba and Asus are the ones that are like, for the popular brands, they're putting out a good product that's really well made, really well designed, runs really well,
So
and is affordable-ish, and they'll soon be replaced by somebody else.
has Acer always been bad?
No, I mean, I think you have more. You have a bigger market with PCs, and so
Different needs.
yeah, and different companies fill different niches. So
Yeah, I would I'd still rather have an Apple. All right. The other thing we're going to talk about, 5 things that are kind of douchey that you don't know you might be doing. So
I know it.
If you're
wait, are we just talking about apples?
and that was good. You're a jerk. So 5, not 25, sorry. Douchey things you don't know you're doing. This comes from Men's Health, and it's actually 25 things, but I've read through all 25, and I just picked out the 5 that I really like. And so I wanted to go through this, and you can play along at home on YouTube's, or if you're driving and listening in your podcast.
You can play along by feeling insulted.
Yeah, Luke Rollins, I'm looking at you a lot for a lot of these. So when you listen to
Yeah,
this,
Luke Rollins. Everybody tweet at Luke Rollins.
yeah, super tool. Okay,
Wow,
number 1.
it's not very nice.
Yeah, just kidding. No, he supported us. That's kind of cool.
This is how you repay him.
That won't happen to most of our friends of the podcast.
Most.
I get made fun of on here. It
But
means
if
we like
I've
you.
known you for a long time, I'm totally gonna make fun of you. So Luke, not all of them, just maybe this one. You call people nicknames like Boss and Champ.
Chief.
There,
Chief.
and
I
Chief.
hate Chief so much.
Boss, Chief, Champ, and Bud. If you use any 4 of those, you're a tool.
Does it say why or just says
Nope.
that? Okay.
You know that happens a lot, and Chris, I think you might be able
Actually-
to weigh in on this. When the first like contractual job I had, where I wasn't working for family, I was getting taxed for the money I was making, was Home Depot. And at Home Depot, everybody would call people Chief. There's so many.
The workers or the
Both. I would get by peers.
Hey,
I'd
Chief,
get
where's
called
the duct
Chief by
Right over here, Chief.
by people who are coming to shop at the store. Oh, and I hated it. It grind my teeth on that one. I hated Chief.
Yeah, so
That's bad.
the description says people don't even call their bosses boss. You're allowed to call The Rock the people's champ, but that's all. So this one drives me nuts, largely because it's lazy, it feels like.
well, I used to call my boss.
And that's fine because they're actually your boss, but there's a certain
Like I can't learn your name.
there's a certain expectation I have of you if I've met you more than 5 times for an extended period of time. If they've been brief meetings, I'm okay with saying like there are people at church I've only met 5 times, and, and I've met them quickly and I kind of forget. And so fair enough. But if I've had like extensive conversations with you, and by extensive I mean longer than 1 minute, know my name because I will know yours. So
Yeah. First, middle, and last.
and yeah, I mean fair enough. So
So dude.
yeah,
Dude,
bro,
dude.
or any
Dude.
variation of like bro, Teddy Roosevelt, broski, Brusif, brohyman, whatever it
For
is.
sure.
That one gets a little bit
Unacceptable.
annoying.
Bruh.
Bruh. That one's also a little bit.
Except in youth ministry, when that kid keeps coming in and you don't remember his name, you're like, "Hey, buddy."
And no, I don't. I'm just gonna say, hey, remind me of your name again.
Don't give away the secrets, because now
That's
everyone's
right,
gonna
that's
know
right.
I'm
that
your
you don't know their
grandmother.
name.
Can we just do that? Remind me of your name. Does that not? Do we not get that one anymore?
To a point, yeah, you can do that, and then
After a year, it's awkward.
yeah,
How do we keep forgetting though after the year? That's the thing.
That
I don't know,
happens
buddy.
to me all
I'm
the
not
time.
sure.
I'm gonna punch you right in the face. All right.
Chief.
The second one is you keep the stickers on your flat brimmed
Oh
hat.
my
I hate
gosh,
that, bro.
Okay. We know
That is
how
the
we
worst.
know how much your hat costs. It says we've all been to lids, and this one is true. I see this a lot, mainly from like the younger millennials that are my friends. You have stickers on your hat, so CC, take the sticker off your hat.
I don't get that. I don't get that. I mean, that's pure tomfoolery.
Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like I saw that guy do it.
That was like the oldest way you could have said that was stupid.
That's
Exactly.
true. That's true poppycock.
That's right. No, it's like I saw a rapper do that to his hat, so I'm going to do that, or whoever. Like, it's so obvious that you're like the tags are made to come off, and you've decided to keep it on. So I used to try to steal students' hats and rip the stickers off.
That's a good thing to
and
do.
they would be like, "If you do that, I'm telling my mom."
Do they just want everyone to know how new it is, or because we used to like buy things and then try and make them look old right away?
That's right.
Yeah.
Remember, people would literally take the rim of their hat and like file
Yeah.
it, the Abercrombie hat, so it would
I don't
look.
know about Abercrombie, but
I'm
I
not
don't
saying
know.
did that.
I
I'm
don't
saying
know
that
one
people
person
did
who's
that.
ever bought an Abercrombie hat. Anyway, so that's another thing. The third one is if you have truck nuts hanging from the back of your truck, or worse, your car. If you have any pair of nuts hanging from the back of your
You
car,
deserve to be kicked in your truck
I
nuts.
thought those were pretty much done though. I haven't seen a
just
pair in a
saw
while.
one last
Really?
week driving
No,
down the
really?
91. I was driving down the 91 with my wife, and this giant lifted Chevy. No, it was a Toyota Tacoma or the Toyota 4Runner. That's the Jeep.
SUV.
Yeah, what's the SUV?
The
FJ
SUV is the
Cruiser.
4Runner, or the FJ Cruiser. It's
No,
the
no,
more
no, no,
Jeep-looking one.
The
Old?
Toyota 4Runner, like the 4Runner Sport. That's like an SUV that looks like the 2000s Grand Cherokee ripoff. Right?
Yeah,
the
it's probably a
Yeah,
4Runner.
Yeah.
SUV.
The 4Runner that was lifted so high that at the top of it, it was taller than I was standing up there. And so I could walk into it and like barely hit my head on the bumper. That's how high and modded it was. And like the whole nine. And it just had this pair of like...
Were they the chrome ones at least?
and
Gold?
No. It was just like this... No, it's like fleshy plastic looking.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
they have all different colors.
and just hanging down there and just like in the breeze, it's like, what are you
Okay,
doing?
I have a funny story about these because we don't have a lot of time. So I used to go off-roading in my Jeep, my 2000 Grand Cherokee. Remember that?
Yes.
So we used to get together with like, it was kind of an off-road club. Not really. It was just like a 4x4 shop would just announce when they were going off-roading. And we went, and one guy, new guy, I'd probably been 4 or 5 times. This new guy had them. We're teasing him, but he's like total bro, right? He's trying to be tough, like why are they making fun of him? Like these things are sweet, And but he was total wussing out. Like he wouldn't take any of the hard trails. Like he didn't want to break his, whatever 1995 Cherokee or whatever it was,
He didn't want to scrape
And
his
then
nuts.
there was this huge dune. Yeah, they were.
It's okay
really
to keep it on the
expensive
podcast because it's not inappropriate.
at Auto Trader, AutoZone. So there's this huge dune, and we would basically, it wasn't super steep, but you would see how far up it you could get, And we were, 4 or 5 people did it, and I got the highest because I had a V8, and Wranglers don't have that much power, and so they were teasing that he needs to take them off and give them to me because my truck is worthy of
Manlier.
truck nuts. I don't know.
Castrated his Jeep.
Yeah, it was fun.
And the last one, how many is that? That's 3. Number 4 is you grunt while doing arm curls, or any type of gym grunting in general. I have a buddy who's not an Olympic powerlifter, who does powerlifting, right, for competitions. His name is Sal. What's up, Sal? And he just did a personal record. I just watched him on his Facebook. Just squatted 600 pounds, and like. Insane. Just the bar is like this. It just looks like
he
an
can grunt,
upside down
right?
parabola that
He
he's
can
holding.
grunt 'cause he's going
He
for a world
doesn't make a sound.
Really?
Okay.
Notice
So-
how we're not making fun of this gentleman.
I would totally
Thank you,
make,
sir.
You can grunt if you want.
Yeah. No. What I'm saying is he doesn't make a sound at squatting 600 pounds. The guy weighs 198 pounds and he's squatting 600. I'm not good with math, but that's at least 3 times your body weight. And so if he's not grunting at 600 pounds, I don't ever want to hear somebody standing next to me grunt. And I hear it so much. It drives
It's a mating
me
call in the gym.
insane. But there's nobody but guys in the gym every time I'm there. Anyway.
What gym do you go to?
And I use the one at my area by my house. And so it's like, dude, come on. Like, there's just
Isn't the
4
name
of
of
us.
that gym the Grunt's Gym?
No. That was awful. So it gets me so frustrated because it's like, dude, we're all in here. None of us weigh over 170 pounds. Like, why are you grunting? You're lifting 20s. Just stop. So anyway, the last one is you take selfies in the bathroom. And the caption is, have you ever looked at somebody after they've had a dump? It's not flattering at all. So why would you take a picture
Hey,
of
leave Luke
yourself?
Rollins alone, okay?
I didn't say that.
That's the thinnest you ever are all day.
Lightest time of the day.
So, but like when there's right next to the urinals or when you can see them, and I've been guilty of this in my younger years, and I've deleted those pictures off of my Instagram. So I recognize
bad.
my hypocrisy and I recant my
Is it so you can see yourself better to frame the photo?
Sometimes photos in the bathroom come from the fact that it's the only place that has a full length-ish mirror, like right 3/4 length mirror. If you stand far enough back, you can see down to
Yeah,
your
but
jeans.
you're taking a picture. You can just take a selfie, and you don't need the.
No, because you can't
the
always.
mirror.
You
Well, and
can't
they
always
came
control
about
them.
before
Oh,
self-facing
Selfie stick.
cameras.
Yeah.
Right.
And so that is my 5 things list. If you are kind of a tool and you're doing that, feel free to stop. That's totally acceptable, and God will still love you. There's a good phrase that says,
He may love you a little more.
yeah, there's a good bumper sticker that says, Jesus loves you. Everybody else thinks you're a jerk. So be less of a jerk, and then maybe more people will start to love you, and then use that as an opportunity to witness and share your faith and share the gospel a little bit.
That's a shaky time.
And while you're sharing the gospel, make sure you go online and follow us at facebook.com/faith and whatever, or follow us on the Twitters. We are faith, the letter N, whatever. And so we'll be back soon.
So, Josh, you want people to say, notice how I wasn't grunting in the gym? You could know Jesus too.
Yeah, but the best way to do that is by knowing Jesus, or to know Jesus, is to go to facebook.com/faith and whatever and meet us there. All right, and then we can talk about it more.
That's because we're going to have Jesus
all
on as a
recovering,
guest next
all
week.
recovering douches can meet together.
Yeah, it's an RD group. It's like CR, like Celebrate Recovery, but for jerks.
5 Ways I'm Judging You by Josh Carmen.
Okay. So, all right. So we'll look forward to connecting with you there.